An insulation resistance test is a method of determining if the insulation in a high voltage circuit is breaking down or decaying. If the insulation in a high voltage circuit were to break down, or the circuit became shorted or leaked current to the component case, the reading on the meter would display resistance values lower than the spec listed in the ESM. Unlike normal resistance testers, insulation resistance testers are used by applying 500 volts to the circuit. For this reason, improper handling of an insulation resistance tester may cause an electric shock. In addition to this, if an insulation resistance tester is used in a 12 volt circuit, damage will occur to circuitry and componentry. To avoid these hazards, please read the insulation resistance tester operating manual carefully and follow all safety procedures. Note, if conducting an insulation resistance test, do not touch the metal probes during the test. Never do an insulation resistance test on an individual lithium-ion battery module. Depending upon what high voltage repair you are carrying out, the ESM may ask you to do what's called an insulation resistance test. In certain high voltage components, over a period of time, the insulation can decay or degrade. This is where we put, with this tester here, 500 volts into the system to test the integrity of the insulation. This always must be done with full PPE and must be done safely. Can I suggest? Follow the steps. If the ESM asks you to do it, follow the steps in the ESM. Always have perfect PPE gear on, and make sure that you read the operating manual for the insulation resistance tester. Now, talking about the insulation resistance tester, here he is here, of course. I've taken out my usual red lead that I would use to do voltage, don't need him, and I've replaced him with this thick one here. Have a look here. And remember, this insulation resistance tester is actually, I can put 1,000 volts, it's rated to 1,000 volts. We're only going to put 500 in because that, in this test, that is what the ESM asks for. So, this is a special connection here, triangular connection, and I'm going into this port here, which is V voltage and insulation. Great. I still have my COM lead in, my black lead, but I've taken my pointy probe off and I've put my crocodile clip on. So basically, what I'm going, and it depends what high voltage repair you're actually doing to what component, but what I'm going to do is, I'm going to clip this onto the outside casing of the PDM, the power to delivery module, which sits on top. I'm going to do it from underneath. And then on the main spine harness, I'm going to put this one into the main spine. Of course, I'll have all my PPE gear on. Then I'm going to push, I'm going to go to 500 volts, and I'm going to push and hold this test button. And you know, I might need to push and hold it for 10, 15, 20 seconds until the reading stabilises. It means I'm putting 500 volts into whichever component I'm doing, and then I can check the reading in mega ohms. The spec for whatever component you are testing will of course be in the ESM. Please, just don't do this test for fun. It is the real deal. We're putting 500 volts in. Follow all the information in the ESM step by step, and let's keep it totally safe. Let's take a look. Okay, so what I've done here, I've connected my black crocodile lead up into the casing of the PDM, powered delivery module. I've got my red lead here. I actually do have a test button on here, but I find it quite hard to push with my gloves on. So I'm going to use the test button of the actual insulation resistance tester here. I've set it to 500 volts. I'm going to go into the main spine here and hold him in. Remember, PPE, this must be done safely, very important. And I'm going to push and hold the test button. I'm now putting 500 volts into the system to test the integrity of the insulation, settling and stabilising, and this one of course is a brand new car, it's beautiful. So that is a insulation resistance test. Once again, you know, it depends upon what component you are doing a high voltage repair on. Please though, all of the insulation resistant tests must be done totally safely. It is the real deal. PPE and safety first, please.